The right people come together at the right moment, when they care almost as much about winning as they do about each other, they can become the best of the best.
Welcome to the best soccer show, the best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go. It's the best soccer show. Jason Davis, Jay Rodius, Jared Dubois.
What up, baby?
We are here. We're live. We're talking about American soccer because that's what we do.
This is your weekly reminder not to let it loop.
It's not going to loop.
Okay.
Brother, I am ahead of the game over here.
Watch out now, baby.
I got things locked in. No, it is a U.S. men's national team roster release day. And first of all, let me thank you, Jared, for rearranging your schedule. Yeah, that too. The hair, number one. But for rearranging your schedule and giving us this opportunity to speak about the national team roster together on a Thursday, the day of the roster drop. Because if we had done the show last night, it would have been
instantly. Well, we would have instant gratification on whether or not we were even close. How close do you think you would have been?
Zero close, not very close. I mean, I knew Pulisic wasn't coming. I knew that. Outside of that, I would have missed dramatically in a number of places.
Oh man, I was definitely taken aback a bit because I just didn't think we were still in this place, But I don't know, for people who maybe haven't seen the roster, should we kind of go through it and maybe update some folks?
You know how this is kind of the moment right now, this thing about like when people tell you who they are, believe them. Do you know what I'm saying? Have you heard that recently in any context in America? Maybe perhaps
a little bit.
I would say.
I think the polls shows that most people kind of got that.
Maybe people have learned this lesson. Certainly in my home state, the Commonwealth of Virginia. Shout out!
Congratulations.
I wanted to say though that this feels like something maybe we should apply to one Mauricio Pochettino. That perhaps we should recognize that when people tell you who they are, believe them. Because Mauricio Pochettino has, through actions, told us many times, I'm not a guy who is going to do this in any way that makes any logical sense to you, the American soccer fan. I'm doing this my own way. I got my lemons. I got my ideas, and here we go. And this roster is an example of that, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, he had told us back in September that the time for tinkering was done. We were going to start to see the real team. We kind of saw that in October. You could make the case that that's what he brought in October. A few guys not there, you were able to make there. I don't know if there's anyone that was like, oh my God, I can't believe that guy's not here. Maybe Sergiño Dest, but even then it's kind of like, I get it. He's not always, I don't know. I think he's a little bit flaky.
Sure.
And then coming into this one, you would think, okay, some of those guys are available outside of Pulisic. Everyone's going to be here. And then we get,
we know, okay, the injury-wise, again, Anthony Robinson, we're going to talk about him. Tim Weah picked up an injury just ahead of the camp. Knew he wasn't going to be here. Outside of that, though, I mean, the fact that Weston McKennie didn't make this team, I don't think once you understand the context, and again, once you appreciate that Pochettino's been telling us all along. Now, I said when they tell you who they are, believe them. What I meant was through actions, because as you pointed out in September, Mauricio Pochettino was like, we're done with the tinkering. Now it's time to get real. Mm-hmm. And then here we are 2 months later going, I guess we're still messing around.
John Zawadzki, you say.
But he also did this last month in some ways. Maybe Pulisic was back. Maybe McKennie was back. But there were still some hints within this that were like, oh, okay, we're still kicking the tires on some of this. Like he's still in the lot picking out his cars. He hasn't solidified his fleet. This is still kind of, I'm not sure. And even today, listening to multiple interviews with the man, I listened to his press conference, the Zoom he did with the media after this roster was dropped. I listened to an interview he did with TalkSport where he has asked many questions about being prepared and working towards the World Cup and whether he knows what his first 11 is like. And he said, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What matters is figuring out the 26, and that's not something he's going to be doing until next year. And I don't mean like early next
Well,
year.
I think every coach is still figuring out 26, but when they say that, they mean 23 to 26 or 21 to 26. I feel like he's still figuring out 12 to 26.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, I think my theory on this is that he does not want to be tied down to anything. He wants to be free to mess around and pick the guys that he thinks are in the moment in the best form. Obviously, injury is a factor here. And I think his sense is this is going to be a different mix of players who are available and in form come May of 2026. Why on earth would I be locked into something now? Whether it's by picking the same group or even talking about the same group.
I'll give you one reason why, and it's named the same thing as one of my kids' high school courses, chemistry. You know, like there is something to be said for chemistry. He thinks that he can, like a smoothie, put all the ingredients in on the morning of the World Cup and it's just going to taste good. I got to make a few smoothies to figure out, like, how does pineapple react to raspberry? You know, like I got to put these things together a few times and
no, but that's what I'm saying. This is and I know this is sort of throwing my hands up, and this is sort of rationalizing what we're witnessing here because so much of it fails to make sense. But I just think that this man is an artist. And he is not going to follow your conventions. He is not going to do things the way you would do them, logical person. He is an artist. He is figuring this out as he goes. He's throwing Jackson Pollock stuff at the canvas. And he's not going to, well, again, like this is starting. This is just the beginning of whatever it is he's trying to create. When we get to May of 2026, he's going to be throwing a whole bunch of stuff at this. And it could.
Do you think we're still going to have this reaction when the World Cup roster announces?
Absolutely, I do. Absolutely, I do. I think there are going to be 3, 4, 5, 6 names, and we're going to be like, whoa.
Thinking back to 2022, there were 2 or 3 names that was obviously Pepe was left off.
Yes.
Stefan was left off.
Yep.
Was there another big one that we were surprised was left off the team?
Maybe somebody who was on the back end of their career that got left off. I don't remember specifically.
But the fact that we can't name it probably means it's not so prevalent.
I mean, long time ago. Okay. I'm looking. Obviously, you mentioned Stefan already. Man, I don't know. Miles, how was Miles in the picture in a serious way? He didn't make the team.
I mean, I don't think so much that we consider a snub.
No, probably not. Yeah.
So I think I think we're gonna our over under is gonna be higher than 2 on this one. You know, I think there's gonna be quite a few, and part of it is Pochettino's own fault because he's given a lot of these guys hope. But I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. I just don't know if it's the right thing to do this close to the World Cup.
But he's not
in the last 6 months. Yeah, give lots of guys looks.
He's not, but that's for him. This is like, we're not close to the World Cup. What do you mean we're close to the World Cup? Is the World Cup next month? It's not next month. Why should he think about it being close to the World Cup?
Because we have one other window before, I guess, the December window. We have the December window. We have the March window.
This is the shout, by the way. John
Brooks wasn't playing with the team for months leading up to that.
Yeah, that seems right. That seems right in terms of my memory. But
maybe
shout out to Lefty
year
anyway.
For that. But yeah,
look, I think you have to. I think you have to let go of the notion that this is anything like a team that is going to have continuity from camp to camp in a meaningful, most of the roster kind of way. And maybe he does start doing that in 2026 when the calendar turns over. Maybe he does. But for the moment, he clearly does not see any value in calling up a guy just because he had him last time. Right. And or he finds a way, like the line between calling and not calling is very thin. Now, obviously, injury decides something for some players. Christian probably could be here. He's going to suit up for Milan on the weekend. But they worked it out. And Milan said, we really don't want to push him. We don't want him to fly back.
You're bringing this up. So let's get into the nuts and bolts of this. So in Pulisic, maybe a little less controversial that he's not here, but you add in Weston McKennie.
Sure.
Is Pochettino too soft on the club teams? Is he a pushover?
You know who else isn't here is Chris Richards. And his manager just made a big stink about Chris Richards and his national team requirements, his commitments to the national
Well, that's
team.
probably because he plays for Crystal Palace. They don't have many national team players. Well, I guess they probably do.
No,
but
they do. They do. But yeah, Oliver Glasner was like, oh, they didn't handle him right, and now here is Chris Richards being left off a camp again, as you said, 6 months away from a World Cup team being.
But
named.
it's Pochettino's choice. They can't stop him.
Of course they can't. But he
They
also
can say they're injured.
No, you say is he being soft? I think he absolutely is easily swayed towards the club side of that argument because of his club history. Like, I absolutely think that Mauricio Pochettino thinks like a club manager, and when a club manager says, "Yo, this is not cool," he goes, "Oh yeah, you know what? You're right." And if I
But
was
how
in
do you
your
reconcile that? How do you reconcile that with the pressure he has put on players to show up and play? Like, you can't have it both ways, right? Christian Pulisic
you're
got
right.
called out all summer for not being
You're
with the
right.
national team and making a commitment. He makes a commitment. He's already has a knock going into the camp. He comes in, he gets hurt. Now he's out for a month and he's not with us the next window.
Look, but again, you can sort of talk yourself into all of these things sort of being good in a way. It's a challenge that we don't have Christian Pulisic to lean on the attacking side of the ball. And remember, he didn't start both games last time. This is an opportunity for us to learn what it's like to play without Christian Pulisic, just in case we need to have a plan B because Christian Pulisic is not available for the World Cup in 2026.
Do you think that when it comes to the club, to clubs, is it easier for a team to hold a Chris Richards because the travel is so much more to come to the U.S.? Like, if you have a Belgian national team player playing on Crystal Palace, are you more likely to let that player go?
You are more comfortable seeing that player across the channel.
And how come Brazilians get released all the time?
No, they do.
And
You're
Argentinians.
Right. Well, again, I think in this particular case, you have a manager that is easily convinced that it's better to leave a player where he's at if he's carrying any injury at all, right? On the not just because that's good for the club team, but also because, Pochettino can think, well, I really don't want to push this player too hard right now.
And I get that. The World Cup is 9 months away. Like, you don't want to push an injured player to play. I guess that I'm not talking about that, but how about this from Jackie in the chat? She says, summer is the national team's time. The rest of the year is the club. If that's the case, then why do they make FIFA dates? And I get overall, the summer is the time for the national team, but that's also the only time players potentially get rest all year long. So why even put national team FIFA international dates on the calendar?
Because of the traditions of the game, because of the history of the sport. Because look, we're not going to spend time on club versus country and the tension that exists there. Obviously, this is always a negotiation. There's always a conversation.
But doesn't it feel like Pochettino's often on the backside of it?
It feels like Pochettino probably is making a choice that is not what every manager, what every coach would do. But I do think he is. I don't think he's doing it because he doesn't want to.
So he's playing the long game.
I don't think he's looking at this and going, I'm going to let Oliver Glasner win. I'm going to let Allegri win. That's not what's happening here. What he's doing is thinking, okay, is it worth it for me in November to really push this argument and make a big claim and be upset and say you have to release him? It's a FIFA date. This is the rules. If there's going to be something down the road that is more important in terms of the relationship between club and country, the player status, potentially that player's fitness, whatever.
Then U.S. soccer and Mauricio Pochettino shouldn't be surprised when Americans stop watching and don't care about following this team until the World Cup.
Those things are connected? Is that what it is?
Yes, because absolutely. Because if they're not interested in these fixtures, why should I be interested in these fixtures? If they're telling us these fixtures aren't to be taken seriously.
No, I get that. And I know it's easy to throw stones at U.S. soccer for a lot of things, including the ticket prices for games like this and all that stuff. I will say, though, they hired Mauricio Pochettino to win games at the World Cup. They hired him to take the U.S. men's national team deep into a home World Cup where potentially the impact on the sport could be massive if they do that. What happens now does not matter. If they beat Paraguay 5-0 and Uruguay 5-0, no one is going to talk about that if they get grouped in the summer of 2026. It will not matter. So his goal is to get the team ready. Now, we can argue about whether he's doing it the right way, but he's not going anywhere, right? They're not changing the head coach before the World Cup. So we kind of have to sit here on our hands and go, okay, well, I hope he knows what he's doing. Like, white knuckle this thing. That's pretty much what this is right now.
So from the chat, U.S. men's national team in the chat says, I think Pochettino is trying to achieve continuity in squad and performance. Is that what he's doing? Because I don't see much continuity in terms of the roster from window to window. Well, so how are we trying to achieve that? Now, I will say one thing that has been continuous, and based off of, we can get into the personnel selection here. I think what is continuous is that I think what is being shown to us here is that the 3-man back line is going to continue based on the roster decisions.
Yes, right. Here. And I do think that, let's put all this kind of big picture stuff on hold for a second and talk about the individual players here. And again, we're going to try to get in Pochettino's head, which is extremely difficult. Could you imagine being Mauricio Pochettino instead of being John Malkovich? Could you imagine what that would be like?
Just tons of lemons, dude.
There's lemons everywhere.
Like lemons and bracelets.
Smelling lemons.
How much does that dude jingle walking down the hallway?
It's jingling a lot.
There's a lot of charms. What are the charms you think?
He never sneaks up on anybody.
No,
never sneaks up on anybody.
What do you think is on this charm bracelet?
Man, that's a good question. Probably family stuff, like kids, names, places that he cares about. Maybe he's got a Tottenham Hotspur.
Maybe the soul of Dele Alli.
Could be. Goalkeepers: Roman Celentano of FC Cincinnati, Matt Freese, New York City FC, who everyone presumes is still the number one. Jonathan Klinsmann, Cesena, Patrick Schulte, Columbus Crew. Worth pointing, you mentioned it. Matt Turner, not here. He's not the guy. Still hasn't worked his way back into
at Crystal Palace training right now.
Yeah, getting over there, getting some training time on the training pitch, because obviously the MLS season is over for the.
I believe his rights still belong to Lyon, right? It was a loan to New York.
Is that right? That might. Man, I can't keep track of that man's situation. Defenders: Max Arfston, Columbus Crew, who is most.
We're just gonna gloss over the fact that Jonathan Klinsmann's on this roster. We're just moving on.
It's the second time he's done this. I don't care. He's not going to play. He is a training body, and why?
So why wouldn't the training body be Matt? I don't know.
Matt Turner?
Yeah, why is Matt
Crystal
Turner
Palace?
Why isn't he out training the national team instead of that?
You really want to go deep into this? Okay, you've got your number one, Matt Freese.
Sure.
You have a guy who could be argued to have been in the conversation in for that job for a bit, and Patrick Schulte, who I think is probably on the number two on this list.
Yep.
And then you have a couple of guys, not that I'm trying to dismiss Celentano, who I think would probably be ahead of Klinsmann in my mind, but you have a couple of guys that are there to fill out the numbers. They get the experience. They get to be in camp. I presume that they're good guys in camp. I mean, I know about Jonathan Klinsmann when he was a kid and being a jerk on social media, but I don't know anything else.
Jonathan Klinsmann in, but not Gaga Salina. You're going to drag a guy from his club team that's still in the season.
I think, again, I'm going to be kind of mean here. I don't think Jonathan Klinsmann's a threat to anybody. Like, I think that's part of the reason you bring in Jonathan Klinsmann, because nobody looks at him and goes, oh, that guy might be fighting for my job, or I'm up against him for the number 2 spot. No, we're taking 3 World Cup goalkeepers. Although I did hear a rumor that World Cup rosters could be expanded to 30. I saw that on Blue Sky the other day.
If then all this makes more sense. If that happens, then all this stuff makes more sense, because you have to go way deeper.
You have to go deeper. I don't think we should be wasting any breath on Jonathan Klinsmann. I really don't. Defenders: Max Arfston, Serginho Dest, Alex Freeman, Mark McKenzie, Tim Ream, Miles Robinson, Joe Scally, John Tolkien, Austin Trusty. Now, Arfston's the guy who benefits from Robinson not being here in the sense that he's now the starter, at least in our minds, and we'll see what happens with these games. Yeah. Dest is here, which means, what does that mean for Alex Freeman? Because Dest wasn't here last time. John Tolkien is here. I can only imagine he's depth. And look, I don't love him as a player, but I can understand when you're in this moment, give him a look. Of course, Joe Scally is here. Joe Scally is here to play as a center back, not as a wing back. That's what I would presume. Am I wrong about that?
Yeah, I guess I'm not sure. How much center back is he playing with Mönchengladbach?
Well, he's comfortable as
it is 3
center back and a back.
Okay, I'll say this. It's a third right back, but let's also be honest. There's only one left back, since Serginho Dest can fill in there. So what this is a left back and 3 right backs, one of which can go to the other side.
Wait, hold on. What are we talking about? Because Max Arfton's a left wing back.
Yeah.
John Tolkien.
Oh, I forgot
is a
John Tolkien
left-sided
was brought
player.
in. I forgot John Tolkien was
I
brought in.
just mentioned him. You have two
Well,
out and out.
Honestly, I
left-sided
wish
players.
I didn't see him. That's probably why.
Okay, well, you have 2 out and out. He did not learn the lesson about. No, right? He doesn't care. When you got 2 left-sided players, you got 2 right-sided players. At least on paper here, right? And actually, you have 2 left-sided players, 2 right-sided players, and again, this is why I think Scally is not a fullback wingback. Why would you want Joe Scally as a wingback? He doesn't do anything going forward. So he is going probably, if he's going to play, he's going to play as a center back with the back
I think
three
it's
that
more
is involved.
Letting Joe Scally have a look again to a kind of a redemption tour with the national team. I think that's what this really is. I don't think it's more about having positional strength or anything like that, or having him be the third choice center back or something like that. I think is Joe Scally having a decent season with Mönchengladbach. No reason not to get a look at him. I think that's what this is. But Joe Scally is a super defensive four back, right back. You know, like he really doesn't give you much of anything going forward.
Yeah.
So is it like if you have to play late in the game and you have to put a fourth, you're going to run a 4-man back line, he's the best defender? I could see that. He probably is the best defender out of the right-sided options there. But if you're going to go to a 3-back system, like you said, he gives you nothing unless you try to use him as some kind of wide center back.
Yeah, I
wish John Tolkien wasn't with the team, though. I've never seen him do anything that impresses me.
No, not for me either. Austin Trusty is a newish face.
Always love Austin Trusty. Always love Austin. Every time I watch him, I just feel like he exudes potential. Now he has to live up to it and be consistent. But every time I watch him, I'm like, God, that guy has a great center back in him somewhere.
He's part of that Celtic team that's struggled a bit. Martin O'Neill's in charge again because Brendan Rodgers left. They played FC Michelin of Denmark today in the Europa League, and they gave up 3 goals in about 7 minutes and lost that game 3-1. So that's not a great look.
If you're FC Michelin, don't you have to make like your mascot a star?
It's not Michelin. It's not Michelin, like French Michelin, like stars
like
of
the tire dude.
It's not the tire dude or the same company that, well, whatever. It's spelled with a bunch of consonants and there's a Y in there. And I think there's like, it's Michelin, but we're not getting close to what it actually is.
Oh, that's the one that's like MYDTTLYN or something like that. Isn't that where Parkhurst played back in the day?
Yes, there's been like a connection between Danish football, that club, and American soccer for a while now. So yeah, that's what they did. Is they beat Celtic today. Midfielders: Tyler Adams, Sebastian Berhalter, Aiden Morris, Gio Reyna, Christian Roldan, Tanner Tessman, and Sean Zawadzki.
Outside of Zawadzki, I think it's pretty chalk for what was available. You know,
without Weston, right? Weston.
I think. I mean, obviously, people are wondering where's Yunus Musa.
Sure. Now,
I think people are wondering that he is. People are wondering that at Atlanta as well.
The only reason, the only reason that you would say, well, where's Yunus Musa, is because Gio Reyna's back, and did he do anything better than Yunus Musa?
He played last week. That's more than Musa did.
Okay, that's I suppose a fair statement. You also wonder if Pochettino was like, well, if I take Joe Scally, I guess I got to bring Gio Reyna. Or if I take Gio Reyna,
as a guy that doesn't watch a lot of Columbus Crew, what does Sean Zawadzki bring to me into this national team?
Oh, he's versatile. He's a defensive-minded kind of midfielder. Like I don't know,
like Tanner Tessman, like Aiden Morris, like Tyler Adams, like Sebastian Berhalter.
Yeah, all of those.
Again,
all of those
this
things.
Screams 3-5-2 again, or 3-4-3, 3-5-2 most likely though, because it's 3 holding midfielders. That's all that you're going to see here. Maybe you get 2 with a Gio Reyna playing in front. But what's going to be interesting is, if I remember correctly, do we have in the gallery of images the roster from last window? Do we still have that in there to bring up?
I will see. Can you pad it while I
because what I want to see is, I believe last time Diego Luna was listed as a midfielder without Gio Reyna here. And now that Gio Reyna's been added to the team, I now see him listed as a forward. And I'm wondering if those two things are related, because I think that's what ended up happening. I remember seeing Diego Luna as a midfielder last time. So I'm wondering, here we go.
Is this the one?
Yeah, Diego Luna, midfielder, right there. Second name on the midfielders. So interesting that the only thing that changed here is Gio Reyna got added, and now he's listed as a forward. Now, granted, it doesn't mean anything, but it does maybe give you insight to how he expects to potentially use these guys, because I personally like when Diego Luna's further up the field. That's just me. I think he gets lost on having to do too much work in the midfield. I like when he does that work and pressures the back line of a defense when they have the ball. I love him as the first pressure when you want to press. I think he's very, very good at it. And so when you give him more responsibility behind the ball, I think you lose something there. So I wouldn't mind seeing a Tyler Adams. I even like, if you're going to put Gio Reyna in the game, I like the idea of Tyler Adams and maybe Berhalter or Tanner Tessman.
It could be Morris. I think
it could be Morris. Morris is a good passer. Tanner Tessman's probably better at advancing the ball. But I think you can go pretty defensive and do an Adams and Morris with Gio Reyna in front.
Sure, you could do that.
I would enjoy a game of seeing how Gio Reyna and Diego Luna combine. That would be interesting to me to see how what spaces they operate in.
I mean, Gio is just a guy who wants the ball at all times. Diego Luna, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to conceive of what that would look like. I want to point out Malik Tillman unavailable because of an injury as well. So that's why he's not here. So if you were like, oh, this.
But what I really like, the thing that intrigues me most about this is the triangle of movement and possession of a potential Gio Reyna, Diego Luna, and Florin Balogun. Balogun loves to move into spaces. He wants guys that are going to thread balls. And in Luna and Reyna, you have two guys that want to play quick combination passing to release a runner. And I think that's not what Pulisic necessarily does. Pulisic wants to get isolated. He wants to cut inside on his foot. These other two guys, they want to pass. They want to unleash. And I'm really interested to see if we get a game where they get to see that first extended.
I mean, yeah, I think that is definitely something on the table.
I think there's no way Gio Reyna comes in and plays 90 minutes in either of these games.
No,
he's coming off minutes restrictions, it seems, with Mönchengladbach. Do you think he starts either game?
Can't possibly be fit. I actually think that's doubtful that he starts either game. Coming back in for the first time in how long, and getting his first look under Poach since when? Ever? What? I don't, when were you talking about?
I think he made a roster late spring last year or early spring last year. Man, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it is his first time.
If somebody knows if Gio Reyna has been in a camp with Mauricio Pochettino, I'd love to know. I simply can't remember it.
Question from the chat from Soldier Boy Soccer: what does Gio Reyna need to do to impress Pochettino? Work?
I don't see again. That is a thing, right? Is what level of effort is he going to put in? Mauricio Pochettino can watch Mauricio Mönchengladbach games. He was able to watch Borussia Dortmund games when Gio played, which he didn't. He knows what level of effort Gio Reyna is usually attuned to, which is little to none on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Now, if you're in possession, Gio Reyna's got his hand up asking for the ball. It really doesn't even matter if he's in space. It doesn't even really matter if he's got a little bit of room to work with.
But I think the reason why Diego Luna is getting looked at so often and Gio Reyna is not, aside from injuries, whatever, but there was a time where Gio Reyna was healthy and not getting called in recently in the last couple months. Pochettino respects the hustle. Diego Luna gives him that. I think he truly, if you look at Max Arfston as well, Max Arfston hustles. Is he?
Yeah.
Is he a great player? No. But does he hustle? Yeah, he hustles. And I think there's an element to that Pochettino really, really likes. And Gio's going to have to find that gear. I don't think he's going to have a role in this team if he doesn't find that gear somewhere.
Yeah, look, again, Malik Tillman is not here, which I think is to the benefit of Gio Reyna, because I think if Malik Tillman was healthy, Gio might not be in this team. He might not be getting this look. But you are auditioning him for that spot, or at least you're giving him a chance because you don't have who I would imagine is your first choice guy right now, right? Yeah. Do we agree on that?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think first choice is kind of hard. Yeah, maybe. I guess with Pulisic there, he's on the left, and Malik Tillman's probably in that center of midfield spot. I think you're right.
And you have a guy like Luna who can play left, which probably he will probably do with Pulisic not here. well, Aronson may also be in line for that, but can also drift centrally and fill that role in behind, like as a backup, as a
What's
second
interesting
choice.
to me is that the fact that he's missing is the most interesting thing, because I want to know what this lineup looked like when it was in pencil. Because I think maybe Serginho Dest is the Weah replacement, not Haji Wright, not Ricardo Pepi, not Brendan Aronson. Like, we tend to think of Tim Weah that way. Last window, he used him as a right back in a three back system. You know, it could be that he still thinks of him that way. Because when I first saw this, like, oh, who took Weah's spot? And I'm looking at the forwards. I think that's why we see all those extra right backs back there. Is that Tim Weah's not here?
Maybe, yeah, sure, and Weah's versatility.
And I don't think he coded himself in glory at that right back position either. You know,
but again, this is one of those things that makes it even more difficult to project what the roster is going to look like next year, because you can't just go, oh, that's the first choice guy on the depth chart, that's the second choice guy on the depth chart. You look at Weah and you go, well, what position is he actually playing in this team? What is his spot? And obviously, World Cup coaches love versatility, because when you take a limited roster to a tournament, you need guys that can do multiple things.
Weah can go everywhere on both sides. You know, I mean, up and back. You know, he can play the forward or the defender. And but Serginho Dest gives you that too, because he can play on the left if needed. So that's where I think Joe Scally has a chance to stand out if he can show that third, or not really third, but the fourth choice center back in the 3-back system, that get the guy off the bench, that position's open. Hell, even the third one is open. Miles Robbins, I don't know that he's locked that down, but I think he's the best choice right now with Tim Ream and Chris Richards. That other spot is open. These guys are all auditioning for it. So Joe Scally has a chance to show here.
So if you were projecting this, like it's Paraguay and Uruguay. Like, obviously Paraguay is a lesser challenge, at least on paper, than Uruguay is with their pedigree. But probably Pochkin is going to roll out something similar in both games. What does that look like if you were building your starting lineup right now? What does that
I think
look like?
only change from game to game, if I was trying to win these games, I think he's going to make choices and just put guys on the field because he wants to see what happens and get data. But if I was trying to win the games, the only change I think I would make in those games would be at the center midfield. I think against a Paraguay, you may see a Tyler Adams, Tanner Tessman combination with Gio Reyna, assuming Gio Reyna start. Again, assuming you could start Gio Reyna.
I don't think you're starting Gio Reyna. And I think this is probably, Gio Reyna.
Can he get you Can he give you 60 minutes?
He can make he can play 60 minutes. Is he going to give you anything? So again,
if I'm trying to make my best roster, let's take fitness out of this. If I'm trying to make my best roster across 2 games, the only thing I really change is I think it's like Tyler Adams and a Tanner Tessman in the Paraguay game, and I think it's a Tyler Adams and Aiden Morris in the Uruguay game. More bite in the midfield.
I think you're underrating the possibility that Christian Roldan starts one of these games.
Maybe. I mean, he didn't he started the second game last time, right?
He started the second game last
first one he came out as sub, yeah.
I think he does. Now, one thing we haven't spent a lot of time on.
Internet melts down.
One thing we haven't spent a lot of time on is that Ricardo Pepi is back. Now, is he 90 minutes fit to start? Probably not. So what I would guess is that Balogun gets a start and Haji Wright gets a start, and then Ricardo Pepi gets some sub minutes. But it could be interesting.
I don't think Haji Wright gets a start. I think Pepi gets a start.
I don't think
two goals in the last week. I mean, Champions League.
But he's still not.
And he didn't get a chance to see him last window.
But he's not a starter for his club team. I don't know if it's a question of fitness. We're talking about Gio's fitness. I think it's still a question of fitness for Ricardo Pepi. He hasn't been a 90-minute player at PSV. Why would you expect?
It's not that he's not fit; it's that he's not the choice.
Maybe, and maybe if you're only playing on playing for an hour, you can do that because you're bringing Haji Wright in to replace him an hour in. I suppose that's possible. I'm not saying I don't want him to start. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on with this particular roster. Which again, so I think freeze, and then I guess Tim Ream is just still in ink on the team sheet for the moment. With this group, it looks like Ream, Robinson, and McKenzie would be the first 3
Robinson, McKenzie. I think that's the three. Yeah, I think
And
normally
then
it's Richards over McKenzie though.
are we going to see Serginho Dest get a chance to start?
I think so. I think he wants data. That's what this lineup is telling me. This roster is telling me he wants data on a few guys. And Serginho Dest did not have a good performance the last time he was called in 2 windows ago. Didn't get called in last time. I think Poach wants to see if he's hungry for it. Hey, I didn't bring you in. You hungry for it? Show me, because I didn't see it last time. And he didn't bring him in. And, he had to watch Tim Weah get converted to his position instead of bringing him into the pool. So I think he gets minutes.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
the question I have is who plays in front of him? There is not a true outside forward in this lineup. Like, there's guys who can do it, but there's not a single one. There's 3 center forwards, and 2 guys are probably midfielders.
Well, that depends on how you set up.
But I'm talking about natural. Like, where do you think Brendan Aaronson's natural position is?
Brendan Aaronson's natural position is, well, again, it depends on how you set up.
He's got 1 goal.
I think
he's not a forward, man.
No, he's not a forward, but again, I don't know that you're looking in. So again, with the setup that we're talking about, which, what are we calling it? A 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2? What are you calling it?
I don't know. I guess 3.
It's a 3-5-2. You're not asking that player to necessarily, again, you're looking for your wing backs to do a lot of that, to get upfield and be your width. Yeah. You're asking that second forward to drop in more than likely, right? And again, as you said, if it's Luna and Rain on the field together,
what is that? Very, very narrow forward line. You're taking like a tip of the spear and a guy underneath him. So you have Balogun.
Well, not necessarily underneath him, but drifting into space that is available depending on what's happening with wing backs on either side. Okay. And again, what channels Balogun is running at any given point. So, yeah, I mean, again, it's not clear.
You think you see a lineup that has Balogun and or Pepe and Wright as a starting 2 up front?
Balogun and or Pepe. No, I don't see that.
Either Balogun Luna or Balogun Aronson, right?
You can't play Balogun and Pepe together. That is not going to work.
Maybe you can get away with Haji Wright.
Maybe with Haji Wright. Yes, maybe with Haji Wright, because he's done that job. He's done that work before. I just don't see that with Pepe and Luna, or Pepe and Balogun. Those guys are central. Those guys are, those guys want to run towards
saying goal. I feel Aronson and Luna are pretty similar. I think in terms of work rate, you're right, but in terms of on the ball, I don't agree.
No, I don't think I think maybe what that is they are going to pop up in similar spaces looking for the ball. What they do with it is maybe a different question. Maybe that's what we're talking about. Like, Luna's probably at his best playing in combination. I mean, he can drift in, but he likes to play in combination, slip balls in after he's.
Balogun loves that.
Loves that stuff. Absolutely loves that.
Ricardo Pepe, not necessarily his game.
I don't see Aronson making those passes. I see Aronson buzzing. I can see Aronson getting to the end line on some cutbacks. He can get in behind himself.
Aronson pulls a defender. That's what he does. He pulls a defender with him. I mean, you're playing off of that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I oversimplified. Right. That's not fair to him. But ultimately, he's moving around. He's making defenses rotate. Trying to get the ball to the foot of the player that's going to make the.
By the way, I do think this is right. And you said he's got 1 goal. That is true. But I do think he is, if you watch him play, he is better on the ball than he used to be for Leeds. Okay. It's not, we're not talking about Luna, who's got a bag of tricks too. Like,
at the end of the day, we're talking about a Premier League offensive player. I mean, we're qualming about a Premier League offensive player.
Well, yeah, but that's also that thing of every time I see this guy, he doesn't impress me when he's with the national team, right? It kind of doesn't, like, that level matters up to the point of give him a look. What does he do? Every single time I see him, he doesn't do enough for me. And I don't know, is that something you should hold against players? I mean, Brendan Aronson was out of the picture. He was in the wilderness. This has been a fairly recent return.
He worked his way back into the Leeds team.
He did do that too. Right. I think,
and everyone coming into this Premier League season thought he was going to be the odd man out with the money coming in, buying players. Brendan Aronson didn't have a future at Leeds. That was everyone was talking about the going into the season. Now we're a third of the way through the season, and he's featuring.
Yeah, I mean that's and again, give him credit for that, and it's I think clearly something that Pochettino values, right? That he values that work rate element of it. And look, if you are limited in terms of your skill set, but you bust your ass every time the coach calls your number, that matters. It matters a lot.
Just came up in the chat right now too from Stray Catnip. Says Brendan does what Poach tells him to do. Hence, he keeps getting called up. Same for Diego Luna.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%, 100%. And we're going to see what that looks like. We're going to see what that looks like for a guy like Gio Reyna. We're going to see how that looks like for a guy like Joe Scally.
Telling you is that he is loyal. Poach is loyal. If you're going to commit to him and his system, he's loyal. But for the guys that have trouble committing, Christian Pulisic, it's tougher for them.
Wait, hold on. Christian Pulisic has trouble committing, you think, to the national team picture just because he took the summer off? What are you saying, sir? What do you think?
Do you think when you watch Christian Pulisic, is he operating within Poach's system or outside of it?
That's a good question.
I don't know, because I don't know the direction that's being given to him. But when I watch it, it doesn't seem. It feels like gears are turning, and then there's one gear that's timing is just off. And it's not that the gear is a bad gear; it just hasn't been calibrated correctly. Yeah. He doesn't seem to work in the system the same way.
That's an interesting shout. I mean, I again, without knowing what the actual instruction is.
Yep.
But I always think that Pulisic is so
malleable,
so clearly ahead of everybody else in the U.S. men's national team in terms of the ability to create things on the attacking end of the field, that he becomes the target, right? So he's always the target.
It's just so hard when you, agreed. That's a very hard thing to have, but that's becoming the case in Serie A as well. Now, granted, there's a Rafa Leao, there's other players, there's a Modric, there's other people that take that pressure on, but he's known as the guy. And what's hard is that you watch Christian Pulisic week in, week out, on the right with AC Milan, on the left with AC Milan, in the middle, behind the striker, up top. He's playing everywhere and having success. And we can't find any place to give him to succeed with the U.S. national team. Maybe it is just the fact that teams can focus on him. And there's not enough talent around him to pull that attention away. But he has to realize he has to do less then, not more. He has to do less. Give the ball away, get it back in a better position where you can take advantage. It just feels like he's doing too much almost all the time.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. When you are, he's talked about that a little bit. And I don't think, even if you acknowledge, hey, this is a thing that I've done that maybe isn't the best for the team or the best for me, doesn't mean you suddenly stop doing it, right? Yeah. Acknowledging a problem or the wrong approach is step one. Step two is actually retraining yourself not to do that thing that is potentially damaging. And when you are a player like Christian Pulisic, I can only imagine every time you're on the ball or every time you have an opportunity to influence the game, you're thinking, I got to do this. I'm the guy. They want me to do this. This is my responsibility. And you can view that as ball hog or selfish. But the flip side of that coin is that he's trying to carry the team on the shoulders because everyone's told him, you're the star player. You're supposed to do this.
I want to get to this from my homie in the IE, Riverside Grove 94. He says, with Milan, he's a striker. He's not building the attack. He's in the final third. With us, he drops way too deep. I think there's a bit of a misnomer there. I think when you watch when he's successful with AC Milan, he does a fantastic job of facilitating the break on changes of possession. They're playing into the break. The U.S. national team doesn't have the horses or the components to let him operate on the break. He's so often playing in a set against a set defense. I don't see that's where Musa. That's one place that I used to like seeing Yunus Musa on the field, because you had a secondary runner that could break pressure with the ball, and the U.S. could attack facing the goal with defenders on their heels. And I feel like this part of that is just CONCACAF. The U.S. is often playing against teams that are going to bunker in. You're not going to have those open counterattack options. But AC Milan's a big team in Serie A too, but they make it happen.
Again, it depends on the opponent. There is part of that. I definitely think that Pulisic he's not always great in tight spaces. Again, in combination, he can be effective, but you better have next level thinkers in next level guys in terms of making those things happen. Right, a 1-2 and slipping Pulisic in behind so that he can either get a cutback or do something else. That's not something U.S. men's national team does very often. I mean, can you recall? I mean, it does occasionally happen.
Well, this is why
But
I like the idea of Balogun finding form, because when you look at Pepe and you look at Haji Wright, who's going to run with Pulisic? Those guys, Haji Wright can run, but he's not the same as Balogun's like a slasher, like
Balogun is probably more built for that. I think Pepe is very good at showing up at the right time.
Sure.
The right
He's a
spot.
striker's mindset. He has a striker's mindset, knows for the goal. He knows where the ball is going to drop. That's great. There is an absolute need for that. But when you talk about players that can let Christian run a break, Balogun, I don't know another one. Like, who's the other guy that's going to run the break with them? If you're going to have a midfield that's Tyler Adams, Aiden Morris, or Tanner Tessman, who's running with you? You got to hope that the wingbacks are in position to take advantage of that space because you just don't have the horses. That's what Tim Weah brought.
By the way, this is the thing. Like, I think Diego Luna will make the runs, whether he's quick enough, fast enough, top end speed to be effective in those ways. Probably not. Gio Reyna won't run. Gio Reyna will hang back, wait at the top of the 18, and say, "Give me the ball."
When you think of AC Milan, and you have a player like Fofana, who is a fantastic defender, but that dude can have a horse. That guy can run. He gets to the top of the 18 and cracks shots all the time on breaks. Rafa Leao, the guys that can out there and run. And I don't expect to have AC Milan level players, the U.S. national team, but you need those same archetypes if you want Christian Pulisic to be successful. You got to have some of those archetypes in the system.
Well, I mean, that's to presume that Pulisic can only thrive in that kind of system, and maybe
not
that's
only,
true.
but he does well when he's in given that.
No,
I think since Landon Donovan, I don't think there's been a better open field player that the U.S. national team's had.
But this is the eternal problem that international managers have. They may go, "I would love to play this way. Do I have the personnel? I really don't have the personnel."
But maybe this is why he's pushing to a 3-5-2, because if you have Jede Robinson in there, and now you have those guys that can run with Pulisic, maybe that 4-4-2 was stagnating the opportunities in transition.
I will point this out. In Riverside Grove getting a ton of time tonight. Gio is a low block breaker. He's our only one. I think Malik Tillman is actually the other guy I would mention for that role. Which, again, I think he's probably ahead of Gio. I mean, he is ahead of Gio. Gio's just back again.
Tillman's going to try to do it more often with dribbling as well. I think Gio's really going to do it more. I mean, everyone remembers the Gio Mexico, like, long run dribble, set to classical music and everything. But I think Tillman is more dynamic. Gio is more of a mental man's breakdown, how to do a low block.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, again, he doesn't run. He doesn't have good body language. He breaks lines. Yeah, and by the way, that thing about whether or not his body language matters is definitely a question. He what now?
He can hit a ball from 18 as well. Yeah,
Gio, sure. I mean, yeah, this is just, again, such a very interesting group because
let me ask you a question, because can you bring the roster back up just real quick?
Absolutely.
So let me ask you a question. With Christian Pulisic not here, and the players that are available, does Sebastian Berhalter get time just because we don't have a single other person that can serve a ball from a dead ball situation?
That's an interesting point.
Look at down the road. Maybe Christian Roldan. It's going to be a service, not a strike. If Christian Roldan's on it, but he has a decent service. But when you look up down this, like, who's serving?
Serginho Dest on a direct free kick.
If you're shooting, sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, Sebastian Berhalter is the best dead ball striker on this team right here. I mean, who's taking your corner kicks? Who's taking your free kicks? Who's serving the ball? Like, if you don't have him on the field, it's going to get messy.
Doesn't Luna do a little bit of that? I think Luna's done a little bit of that.
I think he can. I think it's not even close, though, that Berhalter's the best server of the ball here, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting thing. In terms of how
you're going to break down back lines and stuff like that, you got to take advantage of set pieces. You have
set pieces in general right now. I mean, not right now. Set pieces always, and
especially with Chris Richards, you can see even the Premier League level, he is elite in terms of.
But what is, obviously he's not here, but what is that? What does it mean for a coach to look at his roster and obviously even picking the players you call up and go, okay, do I have a set piece taker? Okay, now do I have to start my best set piece taker because of how important those are if I'm losing something? Now, I'm not saying that Sebastian Berhalter is a bad player, but we've already talked it out. Like in terms of what Tyler Adams brings, what Adam Morris brings, what Christian Roldan, Tanner Tessman. Tanner Tessman's probably the best two-way player in this group out with Weston not available. We know what Tyler does. Tyler can barely complete a. I'm sorry, I'm being hyperbolic, but Tyler's passing is not.
And I should mention too, Gio Reyna is at the same level I think as Sebastian Berhalter in terms of serving a ball, but I'm not expecting Gio to start.
No, this is the thing. Yes, Gio is incredible with some of this stuff, but again, can you trust him to start him? Now, look, there's a difference. Let's remember this too. With the stakes being what they are in friendlies, he can start Gio and give him a half. Now, he hasn't shown that pattern. Most coaches don't like doing that stuff. They don't. 45 minutes isn't enough usually. They want to see a guy at least get an hour 70 before they go, okay, let's get you off and get somebody on. You don't, and even in a friendly, that's not something they love to do. But there's no reason if you want to that you couldn't start a guy with the number of subs you get in a friendly, the number of subs you get in general now, that you couldn't say, well, let's just give Gio a chance out there and see how he does. Okay, it's not working. Take him off after 45. Or he doesn't have the fitness. This was always the plan. You can always dress that up too. This was always the plan to get him off at the half, no matter how good or bad he looks.
And I think for Gio Reyna, if you tell him that ahead of time, you're not going to get that crying baby stuff you've gotten with in the past. I think if you're communicating with him and he knows that's the plan coming in, he'll make his peace with it.
Right. And again, I don't know that that's the ideal. Like the most effective soccer might not involve Gio Reyna from the start. I just think if you are in a sandbox here, and clearly this is still a sandbox, you really have no reason not to try it. Unless, again, you're trying to just be more effective. What would we do if we wanted to win the game? If this was an important match, if you're playing Paraguay or Uruguay in the World Cup, because what is that? That's possible, right? I don't know that I can't remember what the draw looks like, but it's possible.
Yeah.
If we're playing one of these teams in the World Cup, who would you start from this roster? This is not your perfect roster.
My 11. Yeah. And let's assume, which one do you want me to assume, Paraguay or Uruguay? Because it'd be slightly different for me, like I said.
Sure. Well, I think against Uruguay, you probably start Tyler and.
I'm going to say Paraguay. Let's assume we get the lower seeded team. Okay. I think in goal, me personally, I like Schulte, but it'll probably be Matt Freese.
Yeah, sure.
Defenders, I'm going to go Max Sarfston on the left. I will go with Mackenzie Ream Robinson in the middle, and then Serginho Dest on the right.
Serginho Dest, okay.
Yeah, I think if you're going to play 3-5-2, you got to commit to the types of players and like I said, the archetypes
that would be my choice too, right? But
and my midfield.
I'm not saying Alex Freeman's a better player, but there's been a trust built.
Yeah, I think Alex Stevens first got off the bench and now have a lead at the end of the game. He's coming into the game for Serginho Dest, I would say midfielders would be Tyler Adams, Tanner Tessman, Gio Reyna.
Wow. Okay.
Again, they were trying to win the game, right? So
sure.
Forwards, I would go with Fuller and Balogun and Diego Luna.
Okay. All right.
I think that gives you the best chance to take the game to the other team and actually try to take the game to them and not try to just be complacent, So, like I said, I don't think it's necessarily sexy, but that's what I would do to give myself the best chance of winning.
Okay.
What change do you make from that?
I don't know. I mean, Gio's. It's really hard for me to get to a place of like, let's start Gio, right? I don't. There's not a lot of.
Where are you getting the possession in
I understand.
Midfield?
I understand. I feel like though, in terms of industry, turnovers, connecting, man,
that has to be in there.
Luna's going to have to drop in, right? Again, we talked about this. If you're
you could move Luna to the midfield, and then you could put a Haji right in there or something like that, up top.
Sure. I mean, yeah, if you have Tyler Adams, you need two guys ahead of him who are going to be part of the attack, connectors, potentially players who can break lines. And I don't know, in this group, that's probably Tanner Tessman. And if it's not Reyna, like if you're not at that level for trusting Reyna, it's Tessman and Roldan. That's who it is. Aiden Morris is not that player, right? He's a good passer, but
honestly,
he's not that passer.
If you have one game that you have to win, I might consider Christian Roldan.
I think Christian Roldan is a guy you play if you're trying to win this game.
Is he the best player there? No. But in terms of a guy who's been in pressure situations and performed for his team and a leader, Christian Roldan is those things. As much as none of us want to hear it about the world level, the world-class level that some of these players at the World Cup are going to be, Christian Roldan is absolutely 100% chalk. You know what you're going to get from him.
Okay, Gio Reyna, incredible passer, creative mind, basically zero defensive effort. Right. So if we're looking at this like a FIFA ratings card or whatever they call it now, EAFC, whatever it's
69.
called, whatever, then you know where Gio Reyna is going to be low in, and you know what he's going to be high in. Yeah. The thing about Christian Roldan is he is not going to be world class in any of those categories, but he is going to be dead across the level, a little bit above average in every single category.
No, I'll see. Yeah, there's one category he's going to be high. He's going to be like this, and it'll be one little blip of the heart monitor. You know what that one stat is?
What's that?
Intelligence.
Okay. All right. I do think he's a very smart player.
He's a very smart player. He's smart enough to break Ricky Puig's ACL.
You will never doubt, and you will never doubt the effort that you're getting from Christian Roldan.
I will doubt how many minutes he can do it for.
Maybe.
But I will not doubt the fact he has the heart to do it.
Right. And look, you asked me, I need to win a soccer match. Am I going to go? It's not that I don't want to put luxury player on anybody. I don't want to put that label on anybody. But if you're asking me, hey, you need to win a game. And yes, you need goals. You need goals to win a game, generally speaking. Although in a knockout scenario, you really don't even need goals, right?
Yeah, you told me it's must-win game. Or it was a World Cup game. But you didn't tell me what round it was in. But
that's right. And obviously, I'm saying must win, and that kind of implies you need goals. But I think, and I'm not saying that Pochettino is the worst of this. Clearly, he's not. But most coaches are going to go, how do I have smart players who are going to understand every moment and what's required in a given moment? Do I have players that are not going to be lax with the ball, who are going to be smart? I already said that, but like, again, it's not about being defensive, but it's about having a sort of, it's the floor. You want the highest floor possible. You may not have a very high ceiling because you don't have truly elite creative players, but you have a high floor, right? This is where we're going to be. We might not be great in anything, but I basically know I can trust everybody.
Think of the Greece team that won the Euros. What 2012 or whatever that was? Sure. Like
2004, 2004.
There's those teams out there that just like they don't really necessarily have that low floor like you're talking about, but they don't have that high ceiling either.
Exactly. And again, I think if you are France, if you are Spain, if you are Germany, if you're Italy, if you're a couple of Argentina, Brazil, you can think about this differently, right? You still your floor is still important, but your floor is world class. And then it's like, what do we put on top of that floor? The United States men's national team is a very different place.
A beautiful Vatican mosaic.
It's true. It's like created by Italian craftsmen. It took 10,000 hours to lay down every single
Bellagio floor.
The Bellagio, sure.
You ever been to Bellagio?
I've been to the Bellagio. It's been years, but I've been to the Bellagio. Yeah. But that's what I think is going to happen here, right?
Can we start an irresponsible rumor before we get out of here?
What? There's a rumor? What rumor?
No, I want to start one. Totally.
Oh, you want to start one? What is it?
Greg Berhalter threw the playoff game so he could watch his kid play next week.
Okay. I don't know. How does that make any sense?
He can still watch. If I would anticipate Chicago is going to be a really good team next year. I think they're close.
Yeah, I think they're pretty close.
I think they're a couple. I think they have the ambition right now to go grab a couple players in the offseason. Berhalter's going to have his choice. I think he wasn't established for the whole offseason last time, right? It was he took it late, and the season was already going.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember exactly where it was that he got that job.
But I think that team is close. They ran into a tough Philly team, but I think that team is a few pieces away from being something really good.
Yeah, since we're here, what do you make of? Well, let's talk about coaching hires, because two jobs are filled now. One of them is in New England. We'll start there. Marko Mitrovic, formerly the USU 20.
Yeah,
out there.
It's always hard when you bring up a youth coach, like you for example, Are you going to get Tab Ramos at Houston,
Mhm.
or are you going to get why am I blanking on his name from Akron that went to?
I would argue that Tab was handcuffed by an organization that really had no interest in developing players, and that's what he had been good at with the U.S. program. And he really wasn't given the resources to succeed there, right? But I know Ben Olsen had a good season last year, missed the playoffs this year. Obviously, Ache left. That was a big deal. And they sold Coco Carrasquilla. I think Houston is still in the early stages of trying to figure out how to be a truly modern MLS team. So I don't hold that against Tab Ramos because they were in the darkness while he was there. And
but
then
you know
he went to Hartford.
It's always tough to judge the results at a youth level and making that.
No, absolutely, absolutely. But I actually think this is probably a
John
smart
Hackworth.
hire.
John Hackworth was a great youth coach. Struggled at the top level too.
Yeah, I got to go back and look at his record. Philly and St. Louis. I would say that I don't hate this hire. I'm not saying it's some great, amazing, wow, they knocked it out of the park, but I don't hate the hire, especially if they are going to lean into
it's a Houston appropriate hire though too. Unsexy, not
Revs.
Revs. A Revs appropriate hire. It's unsexy, you know. I mean, at least with Bruce Arena, they were taking some chances to do something good. You know, I just don't. I don't know. When I look at the New York Revolution, I just see more of the same. For those fans, I feel like they have nothing to look forward to coming up. It's not a hire that excites you. It's another establishment guy getting his turn in the rotation. That's what it feels like, at least.
Okay. All right. That's fine. The other one is Tata Martino. Tata Martino got rehired by Atlanta United.
Tata excites me. Atlanta doesn't. Because if they're going to come out with a lot of those same pieces, I don't think Tata makes a difference. You know, I think they need to go out and really.
Okay. Well, Latte Lath is not a bad player. He may not have delivered on the money they spent on him, but I would expect that he's going to improve under some decent coaching.
But a team's more than one player.
No, I know. And Miguel Almiron is on the wrong side of 30 and making a ton of money, and maybe he's not the guy anymore. They're going to improve. Whether or not they are MLS Cup caliber team, no, I don't think that.
Here's the other thing that makes me nervous about this too. Like, now listen, this is a sensitive topic, but I want to be honest here. Garth Lagerwey is one of the best executives ever to do this in this country.
Yeah.
And the guy's going through some stuff right now.
Yeah.
You know, like who's at the helm of this?
There. Chris Henderson's there. I would trust Chris Henderson. Chris Henderson built Seattle with Garth Lagerway. That dude knows what he's doing. He does. I think they've had to figure out how to get out from under the previous regime. I think they did make some mistakes with some of their signings. I think they're going to improve. I'm not saying they're going to go from out of the playoffs.
I like that they're going for it. Tata's a great hire. I mean, if I'm the fan base there, unlike the New England Revolution, I'm at least excited at a base level. Like, oh, we're going to get the band back together. Joseph Martinez, he's available right now. They just released him in San Jose, you know?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
I mean, you're not going to get that one version of him, but
no, that's
but
the case.
If I'm Atlanta and the price is right, I'm bringing him in for the vibes.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
10 minutes sub at the end, 15-minute sub at the end, man.
Sure. Yeah, I think that is probably the right way to look at it.
Who else can they bring back?
Laurentowicz is retired.
Retirement.
Yeah, he's retired. You can't bring him back. I'm trying to think. Leandro something Perez was the center back that was there. Was that who I'm remembering?
I'm already forgetting. It's not even that long.
I mean, look again. The danger of getting the band back together is that the band sounds like shit. Let's the band is old and
they all want to play their new stuff. Play the hits.
They did too many drugs and now they can't play together anymore.
Here's a new one for you guys. That's when you go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, so that's a couple of hires. Have you been watching the MLS Cup playoffs, Jared, with your team?
My team's out, baby. I'm out.
You don't have any interest?
Listen, I'll watch some highlights stuff. I haven't watched a whole game of any of it though. Like, listen, that's how much I love my team. I'm not willing to like invest in others, but I'll say this: based off of what I'm seeing, the results and the highlights and stuff like that, it's LAFC's to lose.
I think that's right.
I don't know. I've never felt this way more before.
Yeah.
Song is too good for this league. This league is too easy for him. I've never, even when I watched Messi.
You don't think okay, all right. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Messi's older, like there's things going on. Like I feel like it was right. Song was too good for this league still. He should have been someplace else.
Okay. That's interesting.
Have you seen a team that knew how to deal with him yet? And then pair him with Bouanga. It's a pretty magic combination right there. Then this is now for our buddy Dustin on the Patreon and stuff like that. We've been talking about this all seasons, that everything felt forced about the Giroud hire. When they brought Giroud in and they centered forward, it was like, what the hell? You're just grabbing a French dude with a name. This does not make sense for your offense and what you're building. They exit him and they bring in Song, and all of a sudden it all makes sense because Bouanga wants to run. He wants to run and combine. He doesn't want to serve crosses in to a 6-foot Frenchman, in the air. They want to play to feet. They want to play into space. And now he's got a runner. This is what they should have been doing the whole time. This is what Toronto should have been doing. This is what Thornton should have given him a year ago, 2 years ago, but yeah, I really feel that it's theirs to lose. I think Philly might be able to frustrate them in a one-off game, especially. I think Philly could frustrate them, but in a multiple game series that we have coming up right now, I don't think any team can beat them over 2 games.
Yeah. Can I share one more thing before we get out of here? I don't know if do you know what's going on with Inter Miami? There's always something, but you know about Inter Miami? So they've got the 3rd game.
I know Suarez got banned, and it didn't even look that bad, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Luis Suarez picked up a suspension.
It's hard to say because I know Luis Suarez is a shit human being, but I feel he got hard done on this one.
Do you? Okay. He kicked Andy Nahar, and they gave him 1 game.
It was reviewed there in the stadium by the refs. It was reviewed.
So you're telling me you were on the side of Inter Miami, who put out this statement today, where it says Inter Miami has received official communication from Major League Soccer regarding the 1-match suspension imposed on our player Luis Suarez for an action that occurred during last Saturday's match in Nashville. The club would like to state the following: Inter Miami CF accepts and respects the decision made by the MLS Disciplinary Committee. At the same time, the club wishes to express its concern about the precedent set by re-refereeing a play that had already been judged by the match officials and VAR, and its confidence that the same standard will be applied in the future to all on-field situations in any match and involving any team.
Agreed.
Really?
So what new evidence did they have after the game that they didn't have during the game?
Look, VAR makes mistakes, Jared. It happens. VAR makes mistakes all the time. So why wouldn't they be able to go back if it's a violent conduct kind of situation? That's what the disciplinary committee is there for.
He got 1-match ban, right?
He got a 1-match ban for this. Yes, he effectively got a red card.
Man. Like, listen. If it had been out in the middle of the field, it wasn't a reviewable play or something like that, or like, hey, a camera angle came up that was different than what they had or something like that. I get it, man. Maybe but this, literally, the whole VAR watched it. And there's 3 guys in there?
The VAR booth, I believe. Is it 3 or 2? Is it 2 or 3? I don't know.
No, maybe 2. I think it might be a tech. But
are you thinking? Is it your opinion that Luis Suarez got done dirty because of his prior record?
Yeah, this isn't something that happened in the tunnel. This isn't something that happened on the sidelines or something like that. This was a reviewed play during the game by match officials that said, "Nah, we're not going to do anything about this. The call on the field stands." I don't know, man. Like, did he kind of kick out at the guy? Yeah, a little bit. But I've seen that in other plays, and it's not even called a foul. I don't know, man. To me, at some point, you got to trust. If you're the referees and you're the VAR officials, do you feel like you were getting your balls cut off?
Wow. So you're saying not only should Inter Miami and Luis Suarez be upset over this re-refereeing situation, the referees on the field.
Jackie got it right here in the chat. Suarez got his reputation caught up with him.
Yeah, he got convicted on his priors, not on what he actually did. That's interesting.
So I'm happy to see bad things happen to him. But
okay,
would you feel the same way if this was another player?
I don't know. I can't tell you. I can't. That's difficult. What I was going to say, though, this is interesting that everybody's saying that he got done dirty because of his reputation.
So, where
When
does it go from here, Jason?
everybody is saying that Inter Miami is getting all these breaks, that Inter Miami gets it's all biased in favor of Inter Miami.
So
And now
where
it's
does
the
it
other way
go from
around.
here, Jason? Let's say the VAR miss an offside call on a goal. Let's say they miss an offside call. Are you going to go change the result of the game afterwards and give that team a goal that was called back?
I am saying
Are you going to change the points for the game?
I am on the record as saying that VAR sucks and I would like it to stop being a thing. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not saying that. I think VAR is a good thing.
VAR stinks. VAR makes the game worse. But this is part of the deal that it's re-refereeing after the fact. But you can't have a league where players go around kicking people like that. It's not good for Major League Soccer's product if Luis Suarez is going to kick guys
not good for their
off
product.
The ball.
Changing history. Honestly, Jason, if your team was denied a goal on an offside call that they blew at VAR, do you now expect them to change that result?
That's not how the disciplinary committee works. The disciplinary committee is for exactly the kind of incident that Luis Suarez was engaged in with Eddie Nahar, not offside calls a day later. This is discipline because Luis Suarez committed a foul. He did a foul. And they went back and they said,
multiple referees disagree with you.
All right, man. All right.
Anyway, I don't like. What I'm okay with them doing is saying, "Hey, a red card was issued in the match, and we don't think the red card was enough." And adding games to like flagrant offenses, the referee in the game only has the ability to produce one card and in effect one game suspension. I have no problem with tacking on stuff.
Listen to this. Listen to my like 12 dimensional chess here. Maybe they banned Luis Suarez for this game, for this ticky-tacky foul that you think was already refereed and they didn't need to re-referee it. So that when Inter Miami gets knocked out by Nashville, they have an excuse for it because Inter Miami is clearly not good enough to go win an MLS Cup, and they don't want that disappointment when Messi
they're
gets knocked out.
They're going to beat Nashville, though.
You think they're going to beat Nashville?
I think with Luis Suarez, they had a good chance. I think without Luis Suarez, it's going to be tough now.
It's tougher. It's way tougher now. We'll see.
I don't know that they would get all the way through to MLS Cup, and win that. I don't know this.
Well, if they win this, they get Messi, they get Suarez back, and then they would go on and face the winner of Cincinnati Columbus.
That's unless they review it again and think that it's worse, and they give him more bans, maybe 2 more games.
Salty about this.
I just don't like where it goes, dude. Like it's a slippery slope with this kind of crap, man. I don't think the dude barely kicked out.
How do you establish that? What do you mean barely? He didn't karate kick him. He didn't full roundhouse.
Dude, we've seen dudes that can really truly kick out. Come on,
Luis Suarez. But see, here's the thing: Luis Suarez is also the dude that will step on your foot. He will step on your foot and not let you leave.
I am not. You have to take him out of it. You have to referee it like you would for any other player in the league.
All right, I do agree with that.
If that was Chris Wondolowski, do you think
maybe this was
playing next game? If that was Chris Wondolowski, is he playing next game?
Maybe Suarez had gotten away with several other fouls, and this is just the one we're focused on because
Tell me if golden boy, olive-skinned Chris Wondolowski with the good hair, if he kicked out like that same little tiny bit, would he be playing next week?
I don't know, man. What do you want me to do?
You know he would. And I do not like Luis Suarez, but we have to have equal justice for everyone.
Justice for that. You know what? That's what we voted for on Tuesday. We voted exactly for that.
Checks and balances.
That's right. we can't let those people in their ivory towers control everything. All right, we got to get out of here.
Good for you is good for me.
We have a patreon.com/thebestsoccershow. It's a great community. That's the number one selling point of the Patreon is the community you get access to via the Slack. It's always going. There's always something happening there. Somebody sharing something, funny bits. There's stuff on food and music and all kinds of stuff. So be part of a great community of American soccer fans by being part of the Patreon. I saw some really intense video game discussion happening today, and I'm not in on any of that.
GTA 6 getting
I think it was part about 5. That, but apparently also our guy Ben was talking about a mafia game or something. I wish I had time.
GTA 6, that's what got pressed. Yeah, I got pushed.
GTA 6 got pushed back.
It's not going to make this one either, boys. I don't know what to tell you, man. You ain't going to see it.
It's just, All right. Do that. Patreon.com/the best soccer show. I need to start making some more bonus content and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, we're hitting like that family time of year. So who knows what the schedule looks like for the next month and a half, 2 months.
What are the dates? What are the dates of the games, the national team games coming up?
The national team games are the 15th of November. And I believe the 19th of November.
19th, we might be able to do a post show, depending on what you have going with WNBC.
I will not. Are you on vacation? Here. I'm on vacation. I'm going on. The international break's about the only time that I can.
That's hurricane season, man. You gotta be careful out there.
No, we're basically done. I know we just had the big one in Jamaica, and pray for Jamaica, by the way. But I think we're gonna be. Okay. Fine. Everybody pray for me as I go on vacation to the Caribbean. Okay. Yeah. Pray to the God you don't believe in. Pray right now.
I pray that you get to play some kick-ass shuffleboard.
What is the atheist version of prayer? What is that? You don't have that? No, but I mean, like, we're like, dear God, please do this thing.
Manifesting?
You can manifest? Is that what you do? You sit around and manifest? Drink wine and manifest.
Yeah, I honestly, like, instead of praying, I just hope.
That's a charm bracelet type situation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And some lemons.
Double pray hands.
Gotta get some pray hands. All right, we're out of here. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you very, very soon. Bye-bye.
Damn, dog, that's an approach.
Oh, it's incredible!
WNBC. WNBC.
Where's that guy?
Is that JTT?
OMFBT13, it's JTT!
Who?
Calm down, Greg. It's soccer. It's soccer.
The horror show.
Who asked those questions? What's that for? Here we go. Saucing them up. Hit him. What?
Get to the chopper!
Jay Rodius.